6 ways you can improve your health starting right now. On the last episode, we talked about the bar challenge, so I hope you have fun with that. I also forgot to mention on that last episode that it's not just bars. Something else that you can do as well, we can call it the car challenge if you like. And that is if you see someone in a fancy car, go up to them, ask them what they do. I will tell you, you never know. You can have some very interesting conversations with that. So that's a follow up from the last episode. On this episode, we are hitting the core thing that's going to get you around in life, and that is your health. That is this mortal form that you find yourself in for the duration of your stay in this thing that we call life. And here are some tips and tricks and things that you can do to start turning your health in the other direction, especially if you've been struggling lately. Now, how relevant is this? Very relevant. And I also figured on this video, I'm going to share a little bit of the personal stuff about me personally, because these are things that I am doing. These are things that are changing my life. Now, that being said, I'm also backing down on these videos a little bit in that these answers work for me. They might not work for you, but you never know if you don't try. Or at the very least, if you are going to try these things, like, do make sure you talk with your doctor, especially if you have like special things going on or whatnot. Just be smart on what you're doing, okay? If you take nothing else away from this channel, one of the key things I want you to think about is where are you getting your information from. So to get into it, there's 6 things that I want to share with you today on your health. And the first one is going to be sleep. We all need a good night's sleep. Sleep is the time where your body will actually cycle out the toxins, rejuvenate, and repair itself. So for those of you that say you will sleep when you die, you're going to be dying a lot sooner if you don't get enough sleep, because that is the time for the subconscious mind to do the repair work while the conscious mind is asleep. So you need to get better sleep. Some things. One is to get a routine. Like, do the same thing before bed every time, so you program yourself and you program your brain that, hey, it's time to go to sleep. You want to watch how much white light your eyes are seeing. So whether that be, lights in the ceiling or even lights on your phone. Don't know about you, but that one was a little bit of a tough one for me. So definitely watch the white light and the intake of it. You also want to think about like maybe a weighted blanket, another way to calm down your nervous system. You could also do, you also want to make sure that like the room temperature is fairly cool. Like it's like there's studies on this that like the cooler the air is in your house or wherever you're sleeping, the better night's sleep that you will get just by having a cooler temperature in your surrounding area. You also want to minimize light. So like blackout curtains work well. And one that is very important and one that I wish I would have done sooner is get a decent mattress. It is worth, now don't kill yourself on the bank here, but it is worth your while to get a mattress that cushions your body, supports your joints, supports your lower back, and something that will actually, where you wake up rested, where you're not waking up sore from the darn thing. Something I wish I would have done a little bit sooner. We spend like a lot of our lives in bed. Make sure that you're spending that time correctly on something that's going to help you and not hurt you. So make sure you're getting a good night's sleep. Make sure that you got everything turned off. Everything is quiet. The blue light is turned down or completely off. And make sure you get a routine so that your body knows when it's time to go to sleep. Also, so a lot of these things I'm telling you are about quality of sleep. But also another thing you want to think of too is how much sleep you are getting. Look, even Elon Musk has said that if he is not getting at least 7 hours of sleep, even his productivity goes down. And Elon's mind is like exploding with ideas like left, right, and center, right? And he's like labeled the genius of the century. So if Elon Musk is saying that he at least needs 7 hours of sleep, what makes you think that you don't? And here's the thing, to those that are naysaying me right now and shaking their heads at me like, Marie, I live off 5 hours of sleep and I'm fine. Are you sure? Are you sure you're fine? Are you sure your cognitive abilities are okay? Or how about this? What if you did get a full 7 hours worth of sleep and your cognitive ability improved? That you can make even better decisions, that you can make even more money. Now, look, I get it, and I've been there. There's times where, every once in a while, you're going to pull an all nighter or something happens or you just can't sleep. I get it. So just think about these things. Think about how much, think about the quality of the sleep, and think about these little suggestions that might make your life just a little bit better, because it truly is your body's time to repair itself. It's its time to shut down, clean up, maintenance, and you have to have this. If you go, I think it's only like a few days. If you go a few days without sleep, like, you will start losing your mind, seeing hallucinogens, and a bunch of crazy stuff happens. So don't do it, okay? Like, no amount of money in the world is worth you, leaving this earth earlier, or getting disease, or getting sicknesses. Like, you need your sleep. Listen to your body and make sure at least you're getting 7, okay? 7 quality hours of sleep. Second thing that I want to mention today, and an important one, is you want to be drinking lots of water. Now, how many times have we heard this? A lot of times. A lot of times, to be sure, that you've heard, like, drink the water, drink the water. You should be drinking X number of gallons per day. There is a book, and I think it's called like the Thousand Cries of Water for Your Body, and I will post it in the description below. But that book really opened up my mind, because just like how Jordan Peterson had said that in certain situations, certain genes in you will turn on, and to approach that situation that would not have been alive or would not have been active unless you had been in that situation. It's actually the opposite with this book when it talks to your body's cries for water. If your body does not have water, and your body is mostly made of water, so if it does not have enough of it, let alone a good quality and quantity of it, it will actually start shutting down things in your body and redirecting the water to the areas in the body that need it most. So you could have part of your body literally turned off because you're not drinking enough water. So make sure you're drinking enough water. Also, think about the quality of water that you're drinking. Here in the South, there's not a lot of good reservoirs. So, at one point, like, I had heard that, like, the minerals and, like, the metals in the water were really high. So I went to bottled water for like a year or two. Just, the cheap stuff, like $1 or $2 for, like, what, the 30 case or whatever. Gotta tell you, I find it very suspicious that it was only 2 or 3 years out. Like, I think it was 2 years after I started drinking the bottled water. That's when I needed a surgery. That's when I had an underlying health condition pop up when it comes to the thyroid thing. Like, all of a sudden, I just find it very suspicious. So for me now, I do filtered water. I actually use, there's quite a few filter systems out there where you can take the tap water, put it into a system, and it'll purify it for you. And I found that is a lot better because it's not sitting in toxic plastic. Like, even if it's ideal circumstances and it wasn't sitting in a hot truck, it's still leaking plastic. It's still leaking plastic. And people wonder why their hormones and diseases and all these other crazy things pop up. So think about not only how much water, think about the quality of the water that you're drinking. Another important thing that I have found very helpful, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs have talked about this, so this maybe is not a newsflash, but it has helped me, something to think about, is meditating. Meditating is a great way to calm the mind, calm the nervous system, think about things in your life that you really want or need, or honestly, just to let go and not think of anything at all. Especially to my young entrepreneurs, women or guys, when it comes to running companies, when it comes to the stress and pressure that's coming, look, I think anxiety and anxiety attacks and anxiety related disorders are fairly common when it comes to entrepreneurship. I could be wrong. I'm generalizing here a little bit. That being said, you need to learn how to find an off switch so that you're not in constantly CEO decision making mode 24/7 around the clock. You need to start finding an off switch because it can lead to detrimental decisions and choices in the future if you don't. So this is, and I'll get to those later in future videos. Don't you worry. But for now, for this one, just think about being able to meditate. This can be sitting in a quiet room for like 5-10 minutes. This can be putting on, if you Google guided meditations here in YouTube, there's more than a few that pop up. For me, I also like ASMR, if anyone's heard about that, especially because this is related to sleep. So I feel like I'm killing 2 birds with 1 stone to a point. where I'm activating and shutting down my nervous system and also getting ready to go to sleep. I think that's auditory meridian something response. So look it up. It's a great thing. It helps. I don't believe in taking sleep aids. That's not for me. I prefer the ASMR. I prefer something natural. Another thing, and the reason why I'm in this outfit today is because you need to work out. I know, Marie. I've heard it 1,000 times. I know I need to work out. Do you really, though? Do you really? When was the last time you went for a walk? When was the last time you hit a gym? Hmm. Just saying. Look, do the research. Don't take my word for it. Okay, I'm not an expert in everything, and I'm going to take it back. I think I have been doing some soul searching, and like saying that I'm an expert in anything is a little grandiose. So look, this is just what's working for me. I'm not an expert, but this is my experiences. This is my documentation. This is what I'm sharing with you that worked for me. And I had done some research on myself, and I had found out like some of the chemicals that are released during exercise can actually help produce. I'm sorry, help reduce. Can't speak tonight. Help reduce brain damage. Can help your heart. I mean, like there's so many benefits to working out. It's a little nuts, especially like a mix of cardio and strength training. Look, just do the research, find out what works for you. And if you're like, Marie, that sounds like a lot of work, just doing the work and finding that stuff out, go for a 10-minute walk. Okay, this isn't rocket science. I will tell you, I actually had to have two surgeries. And when I had them, I was so weak. I was weaker than a kitten. I'm not kidding. I had to start at like 5 or 10 minute walks sometimes while I'm coming out of those surgeries just to get my feet back underneath me. Do what works for you. And what do I mean by that? If you've listened to any of my other videos, it means break it down, simplify the darn thing to the point where, like, okay, so you want to go for a walk. Let's say you want to go for a 10-minute walk. Maria, can't do a 10-minute walk. Can you do a 5-minute walk? Can't do a 5-minute walk, Marie. Not going to happen. A 1-minute walk. Ugh. I'm really, really pathetic. Like, I'm really down on the floor. I'm really having a hard time. Like, I'm sick. I'm tired. I've got 5 kids. Like, whatever your excuse is, because we all have them. I have them myself. Because the brain wants the least resistance. It doesn't want to do it. So you got to train your brain to do this. If it is putting on your shoes for 10 minutes for the first day to get yourself in the habit of this darn thing to go for a walk, then you do what you got to do, okay? Humble yourself down. Keep breaking down the thing that you want to do until you have an action that you will actually take. And if your goal is to get to a 10-minute walk and you haven't gone walking ever in your life, maybe it's putting on your shoes for the first time. Maybe it's going out and getting a pair of decent shoes that make you want to walk. I don't know. I'm just brainstorming here. So go for a walk. Go do something. You have to have it. And also, don't kill yourself doing it. Do your research. Be careful with what you're doing on that. And I will tell you, I've been working out. I've been so proud. Like I've gone up to like 45 minutes to an hour every day, either on the elliptical, either on the treadmill walking, doing ab workouts, lifting weights. And that leads me to eating right. And I will tell you on my personal journey, I got, besides the, it's been an interesting couple of years. I've gotten hit pretty hard. Life has been coming at me like a freight train. And that's one of the reasons why I started down this honestly, self-improvement. That's why I started down the self-improvement thing, because the health was just going to hell in a handbasket. So not only did I have the underlying thyroid condition, not only did I have the 2 surgeries, but the years before that, I got hit with COVID twice. And I will tell you on the second time, that one darn near put me in the hospital. I think I was on like steroids for like a whole month, like 2 or 3 different steroids, because we just could not get what was going on under control. That was still when it was fairly new with COVID and they were figuring things out. And so long story short, like overnight in that month I did not binge eat. I did not do anything. Like I was dreaming of food. I will admit that I was dreaming of food, but I wasn't like actually like gorging on food, ordering whole pizzas. Like I still had a very regular diet, the same diet I was on before, but literally after a month of steroids, like I put on like, I think it was like 25 or like 30 pounds. It was something ridiculous. And so I do have a lot more compassion as well, because you just don't ever know. You never know when you're looking at somebody, like what they've gone through. You just never know. And so I am on my journey in my health. I am actually working really hard to get back to where I was before all that. And I will tell you, the working out is great. It makes you feel strong. It energizes you. You sleep better at night. You feel better in general. But the one thing I'm finding out after like a month and a half, no, what am I up to? Like 2 or 3 months of like every week, 6 days a week, like 45 minutes at the gym, like pretty religiously now at this point. Um, I'm realizing that, yeah, if you're on the weight loss journey, it really is what you eat. Because I lost quite a bit right at first, and then all of a sudden, like plateaued. Like, and I cannot, like, I've been having a fight to get that thing to move back down in the down direction again. So eating right really does matter. Paying attention to what is in things. There is sugar, there are dyes, there are manufactured proteins. Like, read the ingredients, educate yourself, take the time. It's worth it. And honestly, like you gotta watch what you're eating because you are what you eat. And I can't believe I'm saying that because I like, oh, it's not that I love food or anything, but like I like a good night out and I like a good meal occasionally, especially with friends or whatnot. Because I'm not, I am very careful with like, I don't do drugs or anything like that. Like, if anything, like I like my sugar. And I guess that's part of the problem, right? I've had to cut that out completely. Breads, pastas, out it goes. All holistic, like chicken, rice, vegetables, eggs, which are ridiculously expensive right now, at least at the time of this filming of this video. So in any case, that's a little bit of my journey. I will tell you, it does make a difference. I've been eating well so for quite a while now, to the point where when I do eat something like, like bread or pasta, like, oh my god, I didn't realize it, but like when you're eating healthy and then you have one of those things that you used to love, like I felt like almost sick for like 2 or 3 days, like just super slow, super lethargic, like whoa, who knew? Definitely learned something on that, and I'm sharing that with you so you don't have to. By all means, though, before you do these things, especially if you have a condition, make sure you talk with your doctor. Just throwing that out there. Um, and one more thing too is that in this fast-paced world that we all seem to find ourselves in, stress can stress can be a killer. There's good stress, there's an amount of stress that makes you move forward, there's a good amount of stress that keeps your immune system active, and then there's the stress that kills your immune system, and the stress that puts on the weight, the stress that creates the anxiety attacks, the stress that is detrimental to you. Yes, I still have that darn cough. The state that I'm in cannot make up its mind. It was 20 degrees a week ago, and now it's like 80 degrees. The state that I'm in is bipolar, I swear, and it's driving my sinuses and allergies crazy. I'm so sorry. I'm almost over it. That all to be said, managing your stress is important. All the things I just listed above can and will help. They absolutely will. But you've got to find what works for you, okay? What works for somebody else, but what works for me might not work for you. You've got to find the golden middle. You got to find the thing that works for you. And don't forget to ask yourselves the why. If you're having trouble getting started on even one of these things, like ask yourself, why should I be doing this? Play that 7 why game to get the results that you need. So this is the first pillar. And without this, without the energy, without the mental clarity, without your body behind you, I will tell you that, especially when it comes to the thyroid thing that I was dealing with, if you have a thyroid problem or a thyroid condition, you have an energy problem. 1 minute you can be in overdrive and just shaking with anxiety, and the next minute you're on the floor and you can barely move forward in your life. Like just going to the car or just like getting up sounds like a monumental challenge. It was, oof, last year was the most challenging year of my life. I had to evolve really quickly, and I learned a hell of a lot about myself in doing so. Do not be scared of these challenges. And yes, a lot of these things are challenges for a lot of us. Everyone's got to start somewhere. You just have to make the will that you are going to start and that you're going to try to do something different, that you're going to try to better yourself. And so this is a great way to start. These are guidelines. These are things that I have dealt with. These are things that I have learned. Do what works for you. If you have something going on, double check with your doctor. However, I deeply encourage you to go do your own research. And I already told you on the first video, I'm not a fitness guru by any means. I just want to get toned, and I just want to be slimmed and toned. That's it. Just slimmed and toned. Like, I'm not looking to bodybuild or anything like that. not for me personally. But if it helps me with the business, if it helps me move forward, if it helps me have a clear mind, then I'm all for that. Do what's right for you. Do the research, pick one topic, pick on getting a good night's sleep. If you start looking for answers, the answers will find you. Your brain will start activating and it will start hunting down the answers for you without you even having to consciously be asking, like, well, what do I do? What do I do? Just ask it once and it will start spitting out answers. And in case you missed it, we're in a digital age where all you got to do is type it in your phone and it'll pop right up for you. So just something to think about. Be wise, be smart, and be careful where you're getting your information from. On a little side note, I was on Agency Accelerator and I had asked for some help on starting to put an offer together. I am still making inroads to my company. And just to back all this up to prove what I'm saying to you, I had put out a post like, this is what I want to do, like giving like a 2-paragraph long description. I had 3 guys reach out to me. 2 were very knowledgeable, had some really great, excellent advice, had clearly been through this before. The third one was like a kid, like a 16-year-old kid who was like trying to tell me that, what I wanted to charge for thumbnails was like ridiculous. Because all he took away from 2 paragraphs was that this was about thumbnails. He didn't even have the smarts to read the whole thing. Like that was not at all what I was talking about. And his age really showed up and his naivety really showed up on this. So am I going to listen to this kid who clearly can't even read a paragraph? No, I'm not. You shouldn't either. Double check your resources, double check where you're getting your information, and make sure you're doing what's right for you. At the end of the day, that's all you can do. And in this digital world we find ourselves in, make sure you're doing the work, make sure you're checking the facts. Just because somebody says that it works for them, or just because someone says they're an expert, or that they say that it's true, think it through logically. Does this make sense? Does this work for me? And is there proof that this person knows what they're talking about? Is there proof that this person knows what they're talking about? So I wish you well on this first pillar, because when you get this first pillar in place, and it might take a minute, I know it definitely has for me. And I'm a fairly active, like usually take care of myself. Like I care about how I look. I care about my health, always have. But I will tell you, like the last year or 2 have been very difficult for me because I've been hit with these curveballs that came out of nowhere. Maybe you're going through the same thing too. Maybe it's something even worse than what I'm currently dealing with. So I just want you to think about, just start thinking about your health and about how you might want to make it better, and go out there and find the answers because they do exist. I promise you. Please link and subscribe below, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. It's time to level up your life. Talk to you later.